In this episode, we're going to talk about the 5 things to consider when making your Jeep garage, so stick around. Hey, welcome to Cheaper Jeeper TV. I'm Dino, your host. Glad to see you here. Now, when looking at making your garage, your Jeep garage, there are 5 things that you may want to take into consideration. For me, number 1 was first thinking about what kind of tools do I need to keep in my garage. When I did this video here, this was very informative. It helped me realize what schedule to follow and what tasks to do to have a regular maintenance schedule. And once I determined that, I knew what kind of tools I required. So you may want to check out that video there to see what kind of schedule you want to keep. And then I've covered the different tools that you want to carry in the subsequent videos. For example, one of the maintenance items is to rotate your tires. So you'll definitely want to have a jack so you can lift a tire up off the ground so you can do a tire rotation. Now there's all kinds of jacks that you can have out there, but I chose a 3-ton jack because it's not too expensive, it's easy to keep in the garage. So when I come up with a plan for my garage, I'll have to keep in mind that in that plan I have to accommodate a floor jack like this. Not to mention some jack stands to help keep the Jeep safely lifted so that I can change the tires and do other maintenance items that I want to do. Another maintenance item would be an oil change. And then when it comes to brake service, you would require a socket set to help you when you do your brake service. So you can see just with your typical every 5,000 mile or 8,000 kilometer service, you'd have a set of tools that you need to make sure you can accommodate and keep in your garage. The next thing that you want to take into consideration when making your garage, your Jeep garage, is what is the structure of the garage going to be like? For example, in my circumstance, the house I bought already had a garage, so the size of garage is just something I have to work with. Whereas in your case, if you're making a garage, you may want to decide what size is optimum or affordable for you. Now, given that I've got this garage already with the house we purchased, I have to work with the size, and it's not that big of a garage. It's only 18 feet wide and 20 feet deep, and I'll show you some of the plans I have for that. But regardless of the size of the garage that you want to make your Jeep garage, the walls, structure are things that you're going to have to take into consideration. For example, do you just have basic studs on the inside? If that's the case, you could plan to store things between the studs and hang things in there. Or if it already has drywall, you have to determine if it's insulated. Now in my case, this garage has drywall. It's insulated in terms of the walls and the ceiling, as well as the garage door. So in that respect, it's great because I'm up in Canada and I want to use the garage in the winter time, and I'll probably have a video on how I keep it warm to work on the Jeep during the winter time. But given that I have drywall in this garage, I have to determine what do I want to do with that. Do I just want to leave it as drywall? It's just a garage. I'll probably have things all over the walls in there. But I've decided that I'm going to paint the interior of the garage just to make it more of a man cave / Cheaper Jeeper TV studio. But you may want to consider doing something like that because it might just help you keep it a little bit organized, tidy, and just looking nice. And a third thing that you may want to consider when looking at making your garage your Jeep garage is what are you going to do with the floor of the garage. Just a nice concrete floor is suitable. I mean, you're going to be doing work on the floor, you're going to be spilling oil and dropping tools on it, so concrete is suitable for something like that. But there are other options. For example, there's all kinds of epoxy-like coatings that you can have painted on the floor. For example, if you want to do it yourself and purchase the product at the box stores, well, generally all the reviews I've seen online talk about those lasting about 5 years before that product starts peeling off the floor, and then it looks pretty messy at that point, which defeats the whole purpose of you having done anything to the floor in the first place. You might as well just have left it as a concrete floor. Now, in my case, I noticed that there was a DIY product on the floor, and you can see in this video here how the condition of the floor was a little bit messy, and I was looking for options. I did consider the epoxy route, but it's pretty expensive. So in the spirit of cheaper TV, I thought maybe I should look for other options. So one option that I came across, which is at least half the price of a professionally applied epoxy coating floor, is to use floor tiles. Now there are different manufacturers of different types of floor tiles. For example, you have manufacturers that produce a floor tile that's like a grill, and it allows products to fall below and drain away. Or you could have a solid surface type of tile, some that have a diamond plate for grip, some that have like a coin pattern for grip. And if you decided you want one of those types of floor coverings, you just have to see which would suit your needs. Now in my case, I was thinking a lot of sand and salt from the winter time is going to be carried into the garage, and if I have like a vinyl tile that's a solid tile, I would definitely want to make sure that it has grip. But a lot of that salt, snow, sand, water will collect on that tile, and I could see myself wanting to clean it up, and if I needed to work in that area, it'd be a problem. So when I saw the grill type floor tile, and you can get them from high quality to floor tile that you could find on some other less expensive sites, what I decided to do is I looked at reviews online, and what I found is that there were two manufacturers that had high reviews. It was Swiss Trax and Race Deck. So after I did a bit of research, I picked Swiss Trax Rib Trax tile, and the features of that tile that appealed to me is that in the wintertime when I'm pulling the Jeep into the garage and the sand and salt would drip and melt off the Jeep and fall to the floor, it would fall in between the grill and get under the tile. The tile permits the water to drain away. And once a year you could take out a third of the garage at a time in sheets and slide it out and sweep or pressure wash the concrete floor, and then you're able to just put the sheets of tile back into place and you're back to where you started with a nice clean tile. Those tiles stay clean on the surface all the time, and you could just walk on them with your bare feet. They have different colors, they have the different patterns, some with the curved grill like you see here, others that have what they call a smooth surface, and I chose not to go with that because I'm concerned about when the tile is wet, and up here in Canada that'll be a lot. So I didn't want to get the smooth surface because I read some reviews where some people thought it was maybe a little slippery. I don't know, I haven't tested it myself to see. Maybe I'll do a video on that. Nonetheless, I got the Rib Trax and installed them, and I'll have a video coming out on that whole process, and I'll go into details on the pros and cons of that product. But there are a variety of options on what you can choose to do, from epoxy to these grill-like tiles to a solid vinyl surface that you could put on the floor of your garage if you wanted to do something to help you work in there and keep things tidy. And another thing that you can take into consideration when wanting to make your garage your Jeep garage is have a plan on what you want to do in terms of your storage options. For example, there are a lot of videos out there on YouTube on how to make your own storage cabinets, how to put things up on shelves and make some shelves in your garage up high, some that are supported on the walls, some that are supported by the ceiling. There's also some videos out there that talk about making some garage elevators and putting things up in the rafters of your garage, and I did a few of those options. In fact, I did get some professionally manufactured storage cabinets, and I'm going to do a video on how I found a really good price on the new age brand storage cabinets that you can see in the video right now. I'm really happy with those. I wanted to get a set of professionally made, nice looking cabinets, and there are videos out there that show how you could, for example, make your own storage cabinets, and when I do the video on the install, I'll go into a little more detail about those for the people who want to do that. I just wanted to get this garage set up quickly because it was just full of stuff that I needed to organize so I can get on with some things. And then you can see here I did do some shelving up on the wall and around the front door part of the garage so I could get those things that I'm not going to access very readily out of the way. Now I will be making a video on that, and the other thing that I want to talk to you about now is wherever you see videos that talk about putting some storage up in the rafters, make sure that you understand what the load bearing weight is of your rafters. For example, I googled, when you have pre-engineered trusses in homes like this, what is the load bearing capacity of those trusses? And what I learned is that they're only engineered to bear the weight of the drywall from the ceiling of the garage plus the insulation. So anything else you put on top of that will be beyond what those trusses are engineered to support. So in this video and on my subsequent videos, I will never be advocating storing items on the inside of your roof trusses. I chose to just either have the storage cabinets that are supported by sitting on the ground and screwed to the wall, and the storage shelves that are supported by the wall trusses. Nothing in terms of my storage is supported by the ceiling trusses. So that's an important note I just wanted to make sure I let you know about. Another item to consider about making your garage, your Jeep garage, is lighting. A lot of times the standard lighting that comes in a garage when it's initially built will be the typical fluorescent lights that are up on the ceiling like you could see here. What I've noticed is that there's a lot of people putting LED lights in their garages now to give them more light, brighter light, to help them when they want to do work on their Jeeps in their garage. There's those hex pattern lights that you can put up. To me, I kind of thought they look cool, but they might get tired looking after a while and seem very busy, all those different directions of the LED tubes going all over the place. I thought for my purposes, I would get LED lights, but string them going either lengthwise across the garage or horizontally going across the garage. Now the LED lights that you see up here on the screen, these are the lights that I chose to install, and I'll be putting them in my garage so you can see the before and after difference. You can see how they're arranged so you can maybe determine if it's something that you'd like to do in your Jeep garage. So those are the 5 things that I took into consideration in trying to make this garage my Jeep garage, or the Cheaper Jeeper TV studio. Now there are more details coming, and I'll be making subsequent videos to explain and show you all those sorts of things, and you'll eventually see me, especially when the weather changes and it starts to become winter up here. I'll be able to still be making videos, but I'll be able to do it from the comfort of the Cheaper Jeeper TV studio, or the Jeep garage. But I don't want to finish this video until I give you an important tip. Now for some Cheaper Jeeper tips. In this week's tip segment, I just want to let you know, when you think of ordering some materials, whether it be lighting, whether it be the floor tiles, or even your storage cabinets, there's usually one thing that you might consider, like, where are you going to purchase it from? Are you going to purchase your product from a reputable source? But there's not only that you'd consider, but you'd consider which manufacturer will you buy the product from. Will it be this manufacturer's storage cabinets or that manufacturer's storage cabinets? This manufacturer's floor tiles or that? You'll want to look at the reputation of that manufacturer as well, not just the seller. But one thing we don't usually consider, and this is the tip, look into, for example, who is shipping the product. I never thought about it, but if you do think about it, purchasing the product from a seller, picking the manufacturer of the product, you do your homework when it comes to those things to make sure you're satisfied, but you never really think about the shipping experience, and that could ruin the whole experience. That could make you completely dissatisfied because the product might arrive damaged at the fault of the shipper. It may come at an awkward time at the fault of the shipper as well. And there are so many problems that can happen. Whereas if you did the research on who the shipping company is, it might sway your opinion as to whether to go with this manufacturer or the other. For example, let's have a look at this website here. And if you look at the reviews, you might find maybe you might know somebody who's had similar experiences from this shipping company. And if that's the case, then you could make a smart decision on whether or not you wanted to order that product given who they use to ship the product. Just want to share that little tip. It might be something that you want to consider if, as you watch the subsequent videos on the Jeep Garage, if there's something that you decide you want to get, you may want to look into the reviews on the shipper as well. Hey, that's it for this week's episode of Cheaper Jeeper TV. I hope that you found it interesting. If you did, how about giving the video a thumbs up? And if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit the subscribe button right there and hit the alert bell so you'll be notified when the next video is released. Until the next time, I'm Dino for Cheaper Jeeper TV. Be well, stay safe, take care.